Okay.
We're on.
Yeah, just staring at the camera.
Okay, I didn't know we're on.
Yeah, we're on. We're on. It's Martin Norbury, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
And I'm going to be asking you some questions today, Martin, if that's all right.
Absolutely fine. I've just come down in for a nice visit, and I've got hoodwinked into doing a nice Facebook Live, I think they call it. The kids call it.
The kids call it.
The kids call
Get
it.
down with the kids.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to be a bit shameless and plug this. Check out my interview with Martin.
Well, there I am. Not Martin Baker.
Martin Norbury on my Facebook page now.
There you go.
Right, just trying to. There we go. We've got two people. We've got Rupert and Tom already there. They're watching.
Hello, Tom, and hello, Rupert.
This guy here has got a lot of knowledge, guys. He's worth hanging around for. If you're sat there, go and make yourself a cup of tea.
Now you're putting pressure on.
Right, let me just find this here. Right, and then we'll go for it. Perfect. Post. Right, I've done my bit. I've done my marketing bit, Martin. It's all good to go. And now what I'm going to do, I'll clap my hands. I'll just do a little introduction.
Perfect.
To yourself.
Yeah.
And we'll just crack on if that's right.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Hey guys, it's Pete Cann here with the You Can Achieve podcast, and this week I'm very excited to have my mentor, coach, and I would say friend.
Friend, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't work with people I don't like.
Well, there you go then.
There you go.
So I'm on the winner already.
Absolutely.
Mr. Martin Norbury.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm honoured to be here, actually. So I came down to do a bit of mentoring today with yourself and the lovely Chloe, and Pete said, would I do a little bit of a podcast? Yeah, I said, absolutely. Anything, if I can help, I will help. Of course I will. Yeah.
Perfect. And Martin, I don't know if you want to tell the guys a little bit about yourself. I know obviously you're mentoring us and you have been for a while.
Yeah.
But maybe a little bit about your background and why people should listen to what you've got to say.
Okay, so background is I basically set my own business up in 1991, sold it in 96 and in 97. Always good to sell a business twice if you can. And then ended up in the corporate world. And do I look at there or there? Or,
look at there. Look at there. That's fine.
So I ended up in the corporate world and basically grew through the corporate world into running quite a large PLC business as CEO. We took that business from losing lots of money into basically gaining some money and up to about 160 million, and it was great. It was gross revenue, so we had lots of challenges, but I think from that I then had a bit of a family tragedy and then decided to leave corporate life, and people like yourself sort of like listened to me, which was quite unusual, because what I was doing in corporate life I didn't realise translated neatly into the entrepreneur's world. So what we learnt and what we did, we now take to the entrepreneur's world. We call it big business thinking in the small business. And we love it. We work with about 20 clients a year, helping them get to exit.
Perfect.
Exit being either retiring from their business or actually selling their business or actually quadrupling their business, growing it and growing it and growing it. So, yeah, have a lovely time doing it, I must admit.
Good. And we've had a lovely time so far already. We've seen the difference in the last year. So
yeah, it's been really cool. You've done some really, really good work. And, of course, the business is now in a different place.
Yeah, completely. So my podcast is slightly, and you've got to know me a little bit recently, is more about the mind and about vision, goal setting. And I'm a firm believer about if you believe in things and visualise things, they happen.
Yeah.
So my first question to you is, when did you first achieve a goal? What was it, and how did you feel?
Crikey. Well, actually, I got into goal setting, and I'm a big goal setting fan because I believe it did affect my journey for the rest of my life. So, sorry, I shouldn't tap, should I? Because it does that on the microphone. I know these things, and I still don't follow the rules. So I was basically 6 or 7.
Okay.
Big football fan, and my sister was a big dancing fan. And so I used to go and play football at the weekend. She used to go and do dancing. And one weekend I couldn't play football because my babysitter as such had to go out. So I got dragged along to see her dancing. And during the interval, everyone has to get up and follow some steps. And apparently, don't believe it now, but apparently I said to my mum, I like this, I want to do this.
Okay.
So anyway, I don't believe that. But I got into it a little bit and I did a few little lessons. And my dance teacher, a guy called Bill Phillips, put me with a partner, and he said, "You could be really good at this. So why don't you take it? Yeah, why don't you take it a little bit more, not professionally, but a little bit more into it?" And he was going to be judging a competition called the 8 to 10 Cha-Cha. Oh, there you go. You got a picture, has he? So there we go. That's me and Julie. So basically, and the 8 to 10 Cha-Cha was like the best newcomer at the Oscars. So it's what everybody looked at the kids coming through, and it was such an important. He was actually going to be judging in it, but presenting the finalists. And he said, "Wouldn't it be great if you could be in the final?" So we set a goal. Him, Julie, my mum, my dad, everyone set a goal to get into the final, the 8 to 10 Cha-Cha in Bognor Regis.
And what was the lead time? Sorry.
Oh, I was about 6, so it was quite a long time. Yeah. So 6, 7, I was about that age. So we had about a year and a half to get to the. You have to do a qualifier, but if you don't, the judges don't get to know you. If they don't get to know you, you don't get in. So we had to do a little bit of a circuit around the south of England to get known. Of course, first rounds I got knocked out of everything, and then slowly but surely started getting into it. The more we got into it, the more we into the semis and the finals. Our name got about, and then after a while, we started winning a few local competitions, and ended up getting into the. I think it was like 4 rounds before the semi-final.
Okay.
So hundreds of kids would turn up for this competition from all across, not just the UK, but like Norway and some from Japan and places like that. Unbelievable. It was, and the cup was, I was that tall. The cup was this tall.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So we set to get into the final. Actually, I ended up winning it.
Wow.
So what it taught me as a kid was if you set your mind to something and plan it around it, and get everyone around you based to help you do it, then you achieved it.
Okay.
And it was amazing, because after that I then wanted to go to a different school from where my friends were going. So I set my goals to pass my 11 plus, and life just carried on. Little setting mini goals and doing it.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So that's what goal setting did for me.
Perfect. And you're still a big advocate of
goal setting.
Yeah.
I still I have an annual goal with the family. We have monthly topics and things we focus on, and then every week we have a little 7-day goal, normally focused on one of 7 key areas as well.
Okay.
Of either your career, your money, your friends and family, your social, your relationships, your sort of values, your ethics, that sort of stuff. And we just focus on those key things and try and set ourselves goals to help us on that. And then, of course, because we've set those, the world suddenly aligns around it in a good way.
Yeah.
Say that's what you're looking for, and it brings it to the front of it.
Puts its hand up and says,
sort of. I think if you know what you're looking for, then it becomes obvious to find it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're looking for, then it's very difficult to find it, because you don't know what it is.
Perfect.
So that's what we do.
Cool. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge to date, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, it's really easy, that one. So in 2010, life was pretty cool. I was about to sign a major deal with a big car rental company. We've been working on a project for 6 months. It was brilliant. Jackie, who's my wife, had her bags were packed at the time. Not she was leaving me or anything like that, but purely because we're expecting our first child.
Okay.
So 2010 February the 18th was the, without a doubt, the best day or the best time of my life. And then unfortunately February the 19th we met our daughter very briefly, because she came into this world and left the same day. And it was just one of those things, you go to a hospital expecting to walk out with a baby, and you actually walk out empty-handed. And it was full term, and no one knows what quite happened, but she died that day. So for me, it was how to bring the family, how to bring everything under that sort of thing. That's why I left the corporate world, really, because it was just a soulless thing for me then. I wanted something a bit more. So I left that and had to cope with that and realise that it is what it is. It was nothing more than that. We weren't cursed, we weren't doomed or anything along those lines. But it's very hard to do that when it's a human being, obviously, and your daughter. So but we worked together, we communicated, we got through that. We remember every day. But life does move on, and we've come to terms with it, and we're in a different place now.
Okay.
So in some ways, I have to thank her every day, because my life at that point in time was 6 in the morning till 7, 8 at night, working in the corporate world, and now it's not. Now I choose to get up early because I want to. I have twins now, and we spend all the time with them. The book I wrote is called "I Don't Work Fridays," and I don't work Fridays because that's the time I spend with my family, and that's really cool. As well as Saturdays and Sundays at other times. But I can choose who I work with and really enjoy that as well.
That's amazing.
So that was without doubt the most challenging thing I've ever had to deal with.
And what would you say the greatest success to date would be?
Again, it's actually probably a personal one. So I was one of the youngest people ever to join Rotary Club in 2000, and I was 27, and I was actually in the national press, the youngest person to join Rotary, bizarrely, and they threw me like under the bus and said, "Here's a big project. We want you to take disadvantaged children from the local area to a theme park or something, because they've never done that before.
Okay.
That's the life they live." So I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So I spoke to the guy the previous years and saw the scale of what they did, and I thought, no, we can do this slightly more. So we ended up taking, I think, in the area about 3,000 children to Thorpe Park for the day.
Wow.
And I just, one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Bear in mind, the story I just told you, is we got them. We got the local football team to sponsor T-shirts. We gave them a goodie bag each. I bribed the local bus company into providing loads of coaches to take them, because after school and before pickup, so their coaches were free anyway. So that was cool. Thorpe Park obviously gave us a venue, which was amazing. And one kid came up to me and just said, "Mister, how much was the bag? Because if I'd have known, I'd have saved up some money." My heart just fell. I feel it now. Heart just fell apart, and I said, "No, this is for you." He never had anything like it in his life. It was just wow. So that was. I still think that was one of my biggest achievements ever.
Amazing.
And it turned me into a person that I think I became after that, because I realised that when you do have a little bit of success, then it is good not to give back because you have to, because you want to.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was incredible, and it just made me feel great. Just helping people out, really. I suppose in some ways, business mentoring is empowering other people to be successful so they can do stuff as well. You were at our event last week when we talked about the 17 global goals that the United Nations have got, and how we can help put ourselves into that position. That
was amazing, actually. And what I'll do, I'll put a link on
it's
as well for that.
Absolutely incredible. 15-year plan for 17 global goals for this generation to change the world once and for all, which would be great.
Yeah, and if everybody does a little tiny
bit each,
it'll be massive.
Yeah, it will be.
So, what would you say the three things that you're most grateful for in your personal life are?
The way I was brought up. Whilst my mum and dad didn't really get on, and we found that out towards the end, they taught me from right from wrong. And whilst I was a bit of a lad when I was sort of 16 to 18, I knew some things I was doing was wrong, and so they gave me the values of life, which I think are massive. The three most important people in my life, outside Lou, who's the daughter we lost, is James and Lily, my twins. That they're everything to me, and being a dad is the number one thing for me. I just couldn't do enough for them. And Jackie, Jackie. Jackie is my partner in crime. She enables me to do what I do better. And actually, she's more of I can see anyone out there on the planet that's done things like the Mandelas and stuff like that. But what she had to go through and what she is today, she's probably the biggest inspiration I've got, to be honest.
Amazing.
Yeah. So actually, those are the three things that I'm more than grateful. Anything else is just bonuses, really.
Yeah. Okay. And how about your business life? Three things that you're grateful for.
I think the lessons learned through dancing taught me a lot about business, because in dancing I had to set everything up. I had to get everyone on board to get to the goal. We had lots of things we measured along the route. We learned lots of lessons, and then finally we got to that exit, which was winning the competition. So for me, the business lessons learned is one of my biggest things that I'm grateful for on that side. But the ability to constantly look at something and say, how can we do better? So I have this big thing. The word responsible is our ability to respond, and our ability to respond means that we bring everything back to us. We don't look at the outside world. So if something goes wrong in business, it's our ability to respond, which means we can fix it.
Yeah.
If we're not responsible, we can't fix it. So we blame everybody else. So that's one of my things in professional life. The opportunities I've had, maybe being in the right place at the right time has been, but actually grabbing those opportunities, I'm really grateful. And people that believed in me.
Yeah.
I I was kicked out of school. I was kicked out of college.
Okay.
And my first 2 or 3 jobs basically asked to leave.
Right.
But a couple people along the way gave me something to say, actually, there's a bit more here.
Yeah.
A couple of teachers at school went, actually, a bit disruptive, but okay. And a couple of people in work that I won't mention because nobody knows, but have just given me that little bit of belief, something they believed in me and then I believed in them.
Brilliant.
I'm really grateful from that from a business perspective. Really.
And I think that's in life as well. There's a lot of people that they're in that same situation that maybe have been expelled or kicked out of places, but seeing the good in everyone certainly helps because you can just see that little shining light in people.
What our second value is the fact that everybody needs someone to believe in, someone to believe in them, and something to believe in. And if we can get people along those lines, then actually they've got a purpose for doing what they need to do. So when they don't believe in anything or nobody believes in them, and they feel a bit of a failure, that's when it all goes horribly wrong. I think I heard the other day someone said, all this trouble in the world, when you get all these bombings and stuff like that, do you think they're happy people? Like, no, probably not. No. Whereas if they were happy, and happy is actually a study of science, positive psychology, if they're happy, then these things probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I know there's a bit more to it than that, but generally happiness is a big thing to strive for, isn't it?
No, definitely.
And too many people don't strive for it.
Well, I was chatting to a friend of yours and a friend of mine now, Sean, at your event, and we were talking about she's been to India and how the fact that the people with nothing, they've got smiles and they're happy because they appreciate what they have got in life.
They live in the present
completely
without sacrificing the future, so they're actually living for today. There's so many people maybe listening to this or watching this that are constantly trying to live for the future all the time. And we talked about earlier, I'm a big person about if we live to do what we do today, the future may not happen. I found that out with my daughter. She had zero life at all, and we plan for so much of the future, which we need to, but we've got to live in the present. We can't live in the past and we can't live in the future. Today's the day. That's the one you've got to live in.
You heard it here second, maybe?
What's that?
Today's the day?
Yeah, today's the day. Absolutely.
So, daily habits. Do you have any routine habits that get you going for the day?
Well, actually, one I picked up from you. So we were in a little entrepreneurs retreat, weren't we? And I kept sort of looking at you in the morning thinking, well, I've been sleeping and you've been wide awake doing stuff, and you've got far more energy than I have. So what do you do? And you get up at a good time in the morning, you go into habit. So I don't actually have a habit of what I do when I get up, but when I do get up at 5 o'clock in the morning now, it means I try and go to bed a bit earlier. And when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I normally do some personal development stuff. Exercises takes care in the evening because I've got a what do you call it? Cross trainer, which I do because we're going away on a trekking trip soon. But generally, I get up and I do probably about an hour of personal development.
Okay.
I try and spend. Well, I don't work Friday, so I try and make sure that I plan not to do that, so I can spend time with Jackie or the kids at school, obviously. But spend time doing what we want to do or I want to do. So I did a football coaching course, FA coaching course. And that was all part of that plan, wanting to do it along those lines. What other rituals do I have in some ways?
You showed us today, actually. You showed us your diary a little bit.
Yeah. So I believe time is one of the things we just take so much for granted. And if we all knew, it's a classic, if people knew they didn't have it next month, what would they do with it now? Well, whatever they do with it now, do it, because that's the key part of it. So I have a spreadsheet, which is basically my slots in my diary, and I put themes into those slots. So I hate emails. I passionately hate emails because people just get interrupted by them all the time. But I have an email slot, but I only look at emails in that slot. I won't look at them any other time. And that helps me compartmentalise things. Like Jackie and I will have a date night. People go, well, that's a bit strict and structured. It's like, no, because we know on that one day or that one evening, or that one night or whatever, how many times it is, we're free to do whatever.
Yeah.
So if I know I've got a babysitter and they're there till the next morning, we could go to Paris that night. We could go to Blackpool. We could go anywhere we want.
Yeah.
That's the freedom that structure gives us. Nice. And to me, have structure gives us actual freedom, whereas people think the other way around, probably.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah.
So what's the Norbury's vision for the future then? Notice I said Norbury, just your vision there.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, we work with a handful of clients, and we try and help them succeed in their business and live for tomorrow. In some ways, our motto is helping our clients choose what they do with their tomorrow, because that's a key part. So, I'm a big fan of anybody who starts their own business. I don't know how many people watching this are running their own business, but if you've taken the balls to start your own business, you need a bit more help to succeed. And unfortunately, a lot of people fail in business, not because of the government, the environment, or they just don't know enough to do it. So one of our things is to study what makes successful companies. Really, pull the hood off it and get everything understood it, and then just share that with as many people as we can. So of course we work with people on a one-to-one basis, and we need that to us to survive and stuff along those lines and do what we need to do. But there's a whole audience out there that I think we can help if we could just get to them with certain things. Like you guys have picked up. You had a great business anyway, just wanted to take it to another level. And because I've been to that other level, we just sort of let down, helped you up a bit. That's all we've done. But some people, they can't get to that first level, and helping them would be brilliant. And then, if everyone in the UK that runs a one-man business employed someone, this country would be in a very different position. Because that's nearly 4.5 million extra jobs with people that they believe in. And that's a really good dynamic. And I think that's the sort of thing we'd like to do.
Okay, nice. And so for the people, there are people watching. There's definitely one person watching because I can see them, and there's going to be more because we're recording this. And there's obviously listeners. So what 3 pieces of advice would you offer them to lead a happier life?
Well, plan to live a happier life first of all. So, what does it take to understand about your surroundings and what makes you happy? So first understand that, because happiness is a process. I don't think it's just you to wake up being happy. You have to think about it. I think for me, happier life is about living in the present and living the present to the future. So you've got to plan something you want to do and to do it, and then also on the journey enjoy it. I know too many people that sacrifice the journey for the future and end up getting to their destination hating it anyway, and of course they've hated their journey. Or everybody that lives really wild now and then doesn't have a future. So I think in some ways you've got to live for today, ready for the future as well, to make sure you've got that side of it as well. And the other thing is just in some ways be more understanding of what's going on around you. I'm a big fan of a guy called Stephen Covey. His 7 habits, one of them is seek to understand before you're understood. And most people listen to respond. So they go, what was that? And they're listening to respond because they've got an answer. My philosophy, I suppose, in some way, is listen to understand. Because if the whole world listened to understand, again, we wouldn't have many problems around, would we? Because we'd always want to understand the next person's position. And I think that curiosity, for me, has helped me massively. I always want to know, so why did someone say that? What reasons? Why did they act that way? Because the more I understand that, the more you can help with it. The least you understand, you can't do anything. And that just helps me, really. Because that means I'm not super critical or anything along those lines. I'm just like, everyone has a different view. My job is to understand why they have that view and then see if I can mix between the two. That's it.
Okay, perfect. So if our listeners wanted to find out more about you, Martin, where would they find you?
So we got a website called myadvocatementor.com, obviously really catchy, because our business is called Advocate. And you can find me on Twitter at Martin J Norbury, Norbury, and on LinkedIn, Martin J Norbury as well.
Perfect.
So I'm there. Facebook I generally reserve for friends.
Okay.
Because I think that's where that to me is where Facebook is. But any of those other media, quite happy to.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And buy your book as well.
Buy my book. Yeah, I should say that. So you can see I'm not a massive promoter, but I don't work Fridays. It's just a story about how I got to where I am today, and it's about a couple-hour read. It's on Amazon. It's an Amazon bestseller. So if you want to have a look, all the money from the book goes to our daughter's charity. So again, the more I promote that, which I should think about, the more it brings her memory up to present day and that, which is really cool.
And it's a really good read. I
put a lot into it, so hopefully it is.
No, definitely, and it's so. I don't want to say simplistic, but
no, it is simplistic.
But it is.
Life is about simple in some ways, and the more complex you make it, the harder it is to keep up with it. So actually, if you have just a few simple things you do, and you're doing really, really well, then actually that's what life's about in some ways.
Perfect. So I've got one final question.
Yes.
I've got to remember how it's phrased now because all I've got on my notes is 100th birthday.
It's 100th birthday.
So it's your 100th birthday.
It's my 50th this year, but it's not my 100th.
Okay, so double that.
Yeah.
I'm good at math. See, I told you. You are there at your birthday, basically. Any blogs that you've written, and you write some very good blogs. Any articles in any magazines have gone. Your book's gone. All the data that you've ever written has just disappeared, and someone's come up to you, your great-grandchild, has said, "Grandad, what 3 pieces of advice would you offer?"
I hate these questions. I sort of answer in some ways is be understanding, so understand what others are, keep life a bit simple, and the phrase that actually is on my daughter's tombstone or on a grave, and I live by it because I'm a big Liverpool fan, is you never walk alone.
Perfect. Martin, can I have a hug?
Yeah, of course you can, mate.
Good man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
No problems.
I'll sign off. I'll sign this one off. That was brilliant. And there were some people watching that at some point. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Nice to see you.